material, and we'll make sure the slides become posted. I remember someone last week said we talked too fast, and here I am like going really fast again. Today's topic is budget bites. So we've tried to provide a lot of fast facts. Our YouTube videos and tutorials will be a little slower in coming out. I think a lot of us plan on working on those this weekend. And I think next week we're going to be talking about fad diets, and we can recap this at the end. It will be a little more formal next week because I actually have a lecture I give on fad diets, so I'll condense it to highlight some of those things. And we've had several requests, and we know this happened last week, for higher protein meals or protein-based meals not using animal sources of protein. So we've noted that, and we are working on that for next week as well. So just a reminder, this is being recorded. Angela Tacinelli is going to be leading the slideshow, and I'll go over a few slides after she uploads the presentation. And remember, these slides will also be available on the DFEND website. And feel free, while Angela is uploading the slides or sharing the slides, we do monitor the chat, and I think we can access the chat after the call. So we do take note of topics people want to hear more about, and to create that information for you. So,
and Dr. Baum, I just want to mention that these slides will be added to our website, but they have not been uploaded yet because of just technology issues. So they'll be uploaded after this Zoom call.
Okay. So do you want to go to the next slide, Angela? So I thought maybe we should take a step back and talk about the nutrition facts label when we think about eating healthy on a budget. And we have written a formal fact sheet through extension that should be on the website if you want more information. But when shopping, you should really pay attention and learn how to read this facts label. It should be on in some form on every food you purchase. And I just realized I'm pointing at my screen with my finger and you guys can't see that. So the blue box really at the top of the nutrition facts label tells you how many servings there are per container. I think as Americans, we tend to ignore this. And I know, for instance, like with the newer facts labels, nutrition fact labels, they have, like, for instance, a pint of ice cream, the serving size may be like 1/2 a cup, but in reality, a lot of us finish that pint. So they've started adding, like, what happens if you eat the serving size, or what happens if you eat the whole thing. So pay attention to the serving size. Like, for instance, my weakness is Triscuit crackers. So I could just keep, chowing down, but really a serving size is only 6 crackers, to my disappointment. And then the calories, but it's also, especially when we're thinking about budget bites or even snack foods, pay attention to the nutrient density. So how many beneficial nutrients like vitamins and minerals are you getting per calorie of food consumed? So you can see here, this food has about 9 grams of fat, which is 12% of our daily needs. And you can see this image is from the FDA's website. I forgot to put that link on there. But 5% or less means it's a low source. 20% or more means it's high, or like a high source down here when we talk about vitamins and minerals. So you can see it's around 23% of our daily needs for saturated fat. It's higher in sodium and things like that. And, like, look at total sugars. So a lot of companies now are putting total sugars and added sugars. But I will tell you that your body doesn't know the difference between a sugar molecule that's added versus a sugar molecule found in the food. And also pay attention to fiber content. So just start looking at your nutrient labels or nutrition labels when you buy foods. Oh, Angela, can you do the next slide? And so this is kind of hard to read because I mixed this massive table down to sort of what I thought the population would be on this call. And the link is on the left to get really more information. But this shows the calorie needs based on your activity level for males and females by age. So if you look, we'll start on the right with females. We get the short end of the stick. We need a lot less calories, especially if we're sedentary, than our male counterparts. And you can see starting by our mid-20s, we really only need, if we're not physically active, 1,800 calories a day versus a male around 2,600 calories a day. And you can see this decreases once we hit our 50s, our 40s and our 50s for men, and 60s and 70s. So our metabolism slows down as we age. So we also have to pay attention to our calorie intake. And obviously the more active you are, the more calories you can eat. And this is based on maintaining a healthy weight. So a healthy BMI range. It's not based on what we currently eat. And we know that 70% of Americans are overweight or obese. So we know that we're not sitting within these guidelines. Okay, Angela, next slide. And as Sarah wrote, don't forget to, you can either interrupt to ask questions, or if you put them in the chat, I can stop and answer those questions for you. So with what calories are too low? So I think, you know, a very low calorie diet is considered anything below 1,200 calories. So a lot of fad diets, one reason people have a lot of success is because you only have 1,200 calories. And I would say anything below 1,600 calories is considered probably too low to be sustainable. And then Casey asked about needing weight loss. So, I mean, I'm not a registered dietitian, and the other people in the team aren't registered dietitians, but a general rule of thumb, and this varies for everyone, is that about 3,500 calories is equivalent to 1 pound. I mean, there are people at the NIH who could have intellectual arguments with me about that for hours, but for this purpose, so we say if you can cut 500 calories out of your diet every day, whether this is from soda or you increase your physical activity level, that will put you on target to lose around 1 pound a week. And for sustainable weight loss, and we'll talk more about this in fad diets, for the long term, losing 1/2 pound to 2 pounds a week seems to be what gives more people success. So gradual behavior change and implementation, people are more likely to lose weight. And when we talk about losing weight, and again, I'll mention this next week, I think it's like over 90% of people who lose weight gain it back within a year. So clearly whatever we're doing is not working. So, but they show the people who do this low amount of weight loss are more likely to sustain that. And we can maybe bring it into the fad diet talk or make a fact sheet, but there's all this research on people who've participated in the Biggest Loser and then the Biggest Loser camps they have around the country, and how most of them regain all their weight within a certain amount of time. And there's been Pennington Biomedical Center in Louisiana does a lot of research on these Biggest Loser contestants, and we can talk about that. So anyway, this is also from the dietary guidelines. So in 2015, the United States changed their way they do their dietary guidelines, and they started talking about dietary patterns or healthy eating patterns, not just about, you know, my plate or previously my pyramid. And this is really small, but I mostly put it here so you would have the link to sort of how your daily eating pattern should be distributed between the food groups and what the serving sizes would be to maintain different calorie levels. Okay, Angela, do you want to go to the next slide? And then, so when we talk about picking healthy snacks or healthy foods, especially on a budget, you need to pay attention to the nutrient density and portion size. So when we're budget eating for healthy lifestyles, it does take, you have to also budget the time in to plan these diets. And I think Sam will talk about that in later slides. But you want to pick foods that are high in nutrients, so high in things like vitamins and minerals, but relatively low in calories. So these are foods that contain vitamins, minerals, complex carbohydrates. So don't be afraid of carbs. Fiber and whole grains are good for your GI tract, and most Americans don't meet their fiber needs. We talk about lean proteins and healthy fats. And here are some examples. And these serving size charts are kind of small, but they're all over Pinterest. You can find one that works for you. But these show like different hand signals and how they relate to portion size. For instance, like a serving of cheese is your index finger. And where a serving size of protein or lean protein would be, I think like the palm of your hand, or the size of a deck of cards, or something like a computer mouse. So how many of us like actually go and when we eat steak or chicken are eating, you know, a 3 ounce or size of a deck of cards portion? Not many of us, I don't think. Like for peanut butter, you could think of like your thumb is a serving size or also like 2 dice. So I think when people can start to visualize what the right portion size is to eat, that will also save money because many of us are eating way bigger portions than we need. Okay, next slide, Angela. And then I took this from a Canadian website that I've interviewed with them before for sort of articles they write. And it talks about, well, how should we spread our calories throughout the day? So on average, experts recommend around 300 to 400 calories for breakfast and 500 to 700 calories for lunch and dinner, and snacks shouldn't exceed around 200 calories. So that's where we talk about nutrient density and paying attention to our calorie intake. Because I do know, because like a McDonald's cheeseburger, for instance, that's 300 calories. So if you add a small fry, you're already at the 700 calorie mark. Okay, next slide.
I think that's all.
Is that it? Okay, so I think that's all I had talking about it. And like you can see that Sarah wrote in the chat, if you want more information on any of this or ways to think about it, and there's a lot more information coming, I'll take notes to make sure we capture your needs.
Okay, and so for the remainder of this week's Zoom call, we took the concept of budget bites and kind of broke it out into different approaches for you all. So we're going to start with Sam, who will be discussing ways to budget your time in the kitchen with meal prep tips. And then we'll move into ways to budget at the grocery store when you're shopping for food or preparing snack and dinner ideas. And then we'll conclude with some budget-friendly ways to ensure food safety. And that can just help to save money by reducing food waste.
All right, everyone, my name's Sam, and I'm going to share with you a few tips for saving time in the kitchen for your meal prep. First tip is to get organized and plan either like a weekly menu if possible, or even a monthly menu. Planning your meals, especially for dinners for each day, it's a great way to budget your time. There's evidence in the scientific literature that you actually improve your diet quality and you choose more of a healthier diet, and it's shown to save more money in the long run when you plan out your meals. I'll go over a grocery meal prep template that I made on Excel in a few slides. And then also you can wash, chop, and store your vegetables ahead of time. And say if you're going to buy in bulk, you buy a lot of vegetables at once, or some stores, they'll do like a quick grab bag that's discounted because say the vegetables are going to be spoiling soon. You can chop those up, put them in a Ziploc bags or freezer friendly bags, throw those in the freezer, and then you can have those to take out and thaw whenever you need to. So the freezer is your friend. Frozen fruits and vegetables, sometimes those can be even cheaper than fresh vegetables. And in a few of the next slides, we'll actually go over that there's kind of a myth that those aren't as nutritionally as beneficial as fresh fruits and vegetables. However, you can save a lot of money through getting the frozen options. And you can actually portion out your vegetables ahead of time, whether it's just for you individually or if you're prepping it for your family. It makes it really easier to plan your meals that way. All right, Angela, next slide. And I went over a few protein sources, both animal and plants, that you can use to plan out your meals throughout the week. I went ahead and included what their shelf life is after they're cooked, so you can plan accordingly. A good way to plan meals is you can start on Sunday, cook your proteins, or on Wednesdays, depending on that protein source's shelf life. So if we start with eggs that are cooked can last about 3 to 4 days. However, if you're doing hard-boiled eggs, you do get a little bit of extended shelf life with those. As long as you keep the shell on, they're going to last 7 days as long as you put them in the refrigerator. There's multiple recipes that you can use throughout the week with eggs. I added a few there at the bottom. One is just a simple egg salad. If you're trying to watch carbohydrates or follow a keto or a Whole30 or something like that, you can throw that on a bed of lettuce. Also, Angela a few weeks ago shared an awesome recipe, which was baked omelet bites. And that's a great way to meal prep because you can make those omelet bites ahead of time. You can make enough for the week and freeze them and then thaw them out. And then also, I gave a few tips on there on how to hard boil an eggs because those can be really good budget friendly snacks. If we're looking at chicken, cooked chicken can last about 3 to 4 days per the USDA, as long as it's refrigerated. If you buy a whole chicken, you can actually save a lot than if you're buying individual chicken breasts or chicken thighs. According to the USDA, if you buy a whole chicken, it usually averages out about $1.28 per pound. So if you compare that to chicken breast that's already trimmed with the fat off and everything, you know, those can be a lot higher, sometimes $5 a pound, depending on which ones. And I got this tip from a blog. I put the link underneath the picture, but this was a really cool way where you could divide up chicken and cook 3 different recipes. So you could do something in tandem or something in trios. If you're wanting to add some diversity through the week for your lunches or your dinners, you can cook like a teriyaki chicken. You could do something for tacos or chicken fajitas. What they did is it's kind of hard to see on that photo, but they just made little dividers on that baking tray, and then they're cooking everything simultaneously. I added some recipes on the bottom there, how to bake a whole chicken if you've never done before, and how to dress it as well. Sheet pan fajitas, it's super easy. You add everything to a Ziploc bag, and then just throw it on a sheet, bake it at about 400 for 20 to 25 minutes, and then you have a meal. And then chicken avocado salad, which was a YouTube tutorial that we hosted a few weeks ago. If you're someone that's interested in the plant protein route, I added some recipes and tips on tofu. Cooked tofu lasts about 3 days in the refrigerator. It's not confirmed by the USDA, but I did reach out to a tofu manufacturer, and that's what they recommended. If you've never cooked with tofu before, there is a bit of a learning curve. I added some links on there, especially different types of tofu. So I added a buying guide. You're going to find firm, extra firm, and a few others. And depending on what kind of substitute that you're trying to do or what kind of recipe you're trying to cook, you'll want to pay attention to those. And I also gave a tip on how to get all the liquid out because if you've ever had tofu that's not been pressed, it kind of tastes like you're eating a sponge. So it's a good tip to improve that overall texture. And tofu is relatively cheap compared to a lot of other animal proteins, so it's definitely budget friendly. Also, if you're not familiar with chia seeds, these are a staple in Central and Southern America. They're often kind of generalized as a health food. However, they are actually very easy on the budget. About a serving of chia seeds is under 50 cents. They're a complete protein source, and they got an abundance of vitamins and minerals. The most common recipe that people use chia seeds for is making chia pudding. What that is that you soak chia seeds for about 16 hours overnight or so into the next day. And the thing about chia seeds is they actually absorb about 12 times the amount of their size in liquid. So they swell up inside the liquid, and there's kind of an anecdotal tip out there that it will improve satiety. However, it hasn't been studied yet. But I added a recipe on the bottom there on how to prepare chia pudding, and also you can top those on salads as well. And on the bottom there, I did add some things that were keto, Whole30, paleo. I didn't put those on the tofu just because a lot of tofu recipes ask that you use cornstarch to add a little bit of texture. It makes it kind of have that fried coated appearance. So if you're working with cornstarch, that's going to not be classified as a low carb keto or a Whole30 option. I was talking about the meal menu template. This is something I uploaded that's available on our website that you can map out breakfast, lunch, and dinner throughout the week. And then you can add the instruction link on there as well. So when it comes time to cook and prepare, you can just hit that link, follow the recipe. And then on the bottom there, there's a grocery list where I have everything based on the recipes that I'm going to use that I can use when I go to the grocery store. Or if you're buying your meals or buying your groceries online, you can input all this stuff and have it delivered to you. And on the second tab of that meal menu template, I have it's not showing, but it's a recipe bank. So you can keep track of all the recipes that you've used, and you can pull them and add them as you go. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam. And just to mention with that, that template, it is blank on our website, so it allows you to fill it in, and then you can link everything you like and keep track of the ones that are successful for you. So now moving a little bit more into like grocery shopping on a budget and some budget-friendly foods. So just to provide you with some quick tips, and we do have a fast fact sheet uploaded on our website with these like in more detail. But the first tip is just for fresh produce. If you are shopping the fresh produce versus frozen, it's best to shop those foods that are going to be on sale as well as in season. These are just going to help you kind of get the best bang for your buck in terms of the produce based on availability at the time. Secondly, always check the expiration date before buying. And I say this can lead to food waste because if it's going to expire before you can use it all, that's going to lead to food waste. If you really need the ingredient, try sharing or splitting the quantity with friends or neighbors in some way so that you avoid that food going to waste and then that ultimately meaning wasted money. Third, and Sam kind of touched on this, frozen fruits and vegetables are still a great source of nutrients and offer convenience, and they're often cheaper than fresh produce. So don't just like write off your fruits and vegetables just because maybe the produce isn't on sale or you don't have availability to it. Still check your frozen aisles for those resources. And then fourth, check the newspaper, internet for coupons. I know we often forget about it, or some of us don't even get the newspaper anymore, but coupons are still out there, especially on some food manufacturers' websites. And then there's also apps like Ibotta, which personally is one that I use, that allows you to scan your receipts at various grocery stores, and then you can earn cashback rewards from your receipt and those purchases. And that includes, it ranges and always changes from both name brand as well as generic products. And then you can redeem those cashback rewards for gift cards to put towards future uses or for future purchases. As well, buying in bulk usually can get you more product for less money. Again, not buying more than you need because then that could lead to food waste and then wasted money. But this includes anything from family size at just a generic grocery store to your bigger options at your wholesale clubs. And then lastly, make a list as Sam recommended and try to stick to the list. This will avoid any like extraneous purchases and you buying things that were either not in your meal plan or may just bring those unhealthy options into the household that were never on your list. And if you're someone who often forgets your list, my tip is to either keep it on your phone, either in your notepad or the reminder setting, or in your wallet. Those are usually two things most of us are not going to the store without. So you're pretty much almost guaranteed to always remember it. And then Alexis is going to discuss some budget-friendly snack and dinner options next. And then lastly, I almost forgot this, and for more resources for budget-friendly recipes, we did upload a fast fact sheet to our website with some links available and kind of like the additional features that some of the websites offer, including one that has translations into Spanish, as well as another that offers you to save recipes that you like into a cookbook and a downloadable version of that cookbook.
So I did research on some budget-friendly snacks and meal ideas based on what the apps that my local grocery stores had their published prices. So a lot of the more budget-friendly options were nuts. So whole natural almonds and craisins like dried cranberries or raisins are a great combination for a healthy snack. And you can also make your own trail mix by buying nuts and other things to mix in them like chocolate chips or dried fruit or pretzels or even wheat cereal. Fruit is a good option. You can freeze your own fruit, like freezing grapes and banana slices for a healthier snack, or like Angela and Sam mentioned, you can buy them frozen already, and those would be a great snack to mix with things. Apples and peanut butter are a good snack. They're going to be filling and they're going to be healthy too. Lots of vegetable options are also good with peanut butter. You can do carrots, which are pretty cheap, or cucumbers, or celery, or broccoli, or anything like that. And then some other options are string cheese, cottage cheese, hard-boiled eggs, whole wheat crackers or pretzels and peanut butter or cheese, peanut butter banana peanut butter banana honey roll-ups and a whole wheat tortilla are one of my favorite snacks. They're so easy to make. Celery and peanut butter, as I mentioned, grapes and cheese, and then chicken salad's another easy option that's going to be good for a snack and can last a while if maintained correctly. And then some budget-friendly dinner options. So from all of the things that my local grocery stores have posted, chicken is one of the least expensive meat options. So I made a list of chicken-based dinner ideas. So I have cilantro lime chicken and rice, lemon pepper chicken and noodles, rice bowls, and you can do like a base of rice, brown rice or white rice, chicken, roasted sweet potatoes, onions, bell peppers, and black beans, or any other kind of vegetables that you think would be a good combination. Chicken fajitas, like Sam mentioned in his recipe, you just throw chicken and your fajita toppings like bell peppers and onions in the oven and then toast them together and they'll be really good. Sweet potatoes, as I mentioned earlier, they're usually pretty cheap around my grocery store, so I assume that would be the same around the rest of the state. And then you can grill chicken, which is healthy and pretty easy. So some additional budget-friendly bases are spaghetti, which is pretty cheap if you buy it dry in a box. And then my stores have relatively cheap store brand canned vegetables, so we can usually get green beans and tomatoes for like $1 each in a can, so that's not too bad, and that's a good filler for a meal. And then you can also buy a 2-pound bag of dry rice for less than $2, so that's a nice base for a lot of your meals. And then some other budget-friendly ideas that aren't chicken. So my favorite is breakfast for dinner. Eggs are a really cheap option that can be bought for $1 to $2 if they're non-organic. You can try fluffing it up by adding vegetables to fill your omelet. They can be frozen vegetables or fresh vegetables or even canned vegetables, whichever is cheapest in your area. Whole wheat toast can help make you feel fuller for longer. And then proteins and nuts and yogurts can also help you keep full for longer for your breakfast for dinner option. Fried rice, as I mentioned, rice is a cheaper, more budget-friendly alternative to more proteins, so that would be good to fill with eggs and other frozen vegetables. Zucchini lasagna is a meatless option, so that would be pretty good if you're trying to avoid meat or if you're looking for a more budget-friendly option. And then kielbasa, peppers, and pasta. So kielbasa is a sausage, and it's you can buy 12 ounces for less than $3 at all the grocery stores that I looked at. And then you just mix that with some penne pasta and some bell peppers and some Alfredo sauce or some heavy cream, and it'll be good.
Alexis, and we did upload, Sarah shared the link to our website. We encourage you all to check it out. There were a lot of fast facts uploaded, and we also added a recipe specific tab so it's easier to find our recipes. And we uploaded a tortilla lasagna recipe, and I did upload the baked omelet bites recipe written out. So be sure to check those out. And the tortilla lasagna also offers a vegetarian version of it as well. And now Sarah Jones will discuss food safety for your budget so that you reduce food waste and save money.
Hi, everyone. So we'll just quickly go over some leftovers in food safety. So a great way to make your money stretch a little bit is by eating leftovers, but you want to make sure you are doing that safely. So there are a couple of tips that I kind of wanted to share with you guys. So one of the major ones is the danger zone. So that concept is based on food that is in the degrees between 40 and 140 degrees Fahrenheit are considered to be in the danger zone. So you want to keep cold food that is supposed to be cold, you want to keep it 40 degrees or less. For food that is supposed to be hot, you want to keep it 140 degrees or greater. You don't want food to really linger in that in-between area. That is when foodborne pathogens and bacteria, really that is their kind of comfort zone and when they start to grow and proliferate. So to keep your food safe, you want to throw away any perishable foods that have been left in that danger zone for more than 2 hours. And If, for instance, you're like at a picnic or a barbecue or something like that, if the temperature kind of surrounding that food is 90 degrees or above, so kind of what we are in Arkansas right now, throw it away after 1 hour, because otherwise you're kind of risking that chance of foodborne illness, and you don't want to get your friends and family sick. Another item is if you are, for instance, food prepping with a lot of these great recipes, you want to cool food rapidly. So one way to ensure that you're getting out of that danger zone after cooking is cooling the food to 40 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about what your refrigerator is supposed to be set at. But a way to do that is dividing into smaller containers. I know a lot of people meal prep into actual dinner-sized containers, and so that's one way to do it. You don't want to put, if you make a bulk rice dish or a bulk soup or something like that, you don't want to put that directly into the refrigerator, because that interior part of the soup won't cool down as quickly as the exterior, and that introduces the risk of foodborne pathogens growing. This is kind of actually more of a quality when it comes to leftovers, so a little bit less safety, but it still pertains. It's covering your leftovers with plastic wrap or foil, making sure that if you're storing them for a long period of time, if you could do airtight packaging like vacuum sealing, or of course, putting them in storage containers is another option. So that kind of keeps the moisture of the product in. It keeps your refrigerator from smelling like whatever you just cooked. And any other odors, food picks up odors of other food pretty quickly. And so if it is in the refrigerator, just kind of smelling, that meal prep, you don't want that to go to waste because it picked up other odors from the refrigerator. And then lastly, when it comes to storing leftovers, leftovers can be stored, as kind of Sam was saying, in the refrigerator for about 3 to 4 days. That's kind of, you could probably, with some foods, go up to 7 days. But for most, if you are concerned or don't know, go with the default of 3 to 4 days. You don't want to risk it. Foodborne illness is miserable. And so just go on the safe side and really try not to go past that 3 or 4 day mark. But for the freezer, your leftovers can be in the freezer indefinitely, essentially. 3 to 4 months is the best quality though. So I really don't keep leftovers frozen and portioned into the freezer for more than 3 to 4 months. So yeah, there are lots of fast fact sheets. I know we posted some about produce storage. Where do you keep what? Does it go in the refrigerator or the countertop? Kind of different ways to make sure that you are storing that food that you spent your precious money on kind of safely and efficiently. So yeah, that is all I have, Angela.
Thanks, Sarah. So next week's topics will focus on fad diets, which we see a lot of comments talking about. So you guys are all kind of like one step ahead of us. And then the importance of complete proteins, as well as vegetarian and vegan options for increased protein intake. And we know that we're already at noon, but I think we can still answer some questions, Dr. Baum, if anyone has any. And again, these slides will be uploaded to the website, so I will stop sharing now, but they will all be available to you shortly after the call ends.
And we have also a couple more fast facts that will be added after, with sort of, pantry staples on a budget and like links to recipes to using these pantry staples. Yeah, but we're happy to take questions. I think we have about 10 or 15 more minutes of our Zoom time allotted. But we appreciate all the positive comments and feedback and enthusiasm.
I just want to tell y'all, you're knocking it out of the ballpark. These are all so usable, and I love the way you're doing it in a real concise way. Everybody had very concise resources that are hitting all the things that come up in our counties. And I just sent something in the chat about like on the food safety one. I mean, they're all wonderful. People will say, well, we leave our stuff out. We've never gotten sick, and all that kind of stuff. And so it's really nice to have that information in a very concise way. And I like the way you said you're taking a chance if you go over, and foodborne illness is very miserable. So all of those are just great ways to, in a nice way, say, this is why we recommend the best practice. I mean, we do that anyway, but it's real nice to have that piece of paper with all of it on it. So thanks so much, y'all. This is great.
Yeah, and thanks, Pam. I have a mother-in-law who thinks the balcony is the best way to store leftovers. So I've been the victim of years of foodborne illness. So I may have to translate Sarah's fact sheet for her. Does anyone else have feedback? I think we might spread the fad diet one over a couple of the next couple talks, just because there seems to be a lot of interest on that. And Sarah, maybe you can answer the new chat about reheating leftover food. Any guidelines on that, and maybe we can provide an additional fast fact on that. But we appreciate everyone's participation. I've gotten a lot of emails and private chats really about needing these alternative protein sources as the price of meat continues to increase, and especially in some of our counties where we might not be getting all the meat we're used to. And I think I had a conversation with Aaron Howie the other day, on the side, who's also, a co-director of this project, about how ground beef is going up in price and chicken's going up in price. And I guess if we continue to have COVID-19 outbreaks in some of these plants, we might even see a greater increase in prices. So we're going to try to come up with a lot of easy recipes and maybe really great tools you should have in your kitchen to make your life easier, like a crock pot or Instapot and all these things that you can just throw it in the morning and eat it later in the day. So does anyone else have questions? I know we talked a long time this time, but we're happy to.
I had a quick question. I do a Meatless Monday post for our UAEX at Home site. And I just wanted to double check before I did it. Can I, of course, link back to y'all, but use some of your recipes from this bite site for my post to get some more activity?
So that's not our site.
Okay.
That's a blogger. She has like an Instagram account, but I think I've written fact sheets and cited her blog. I think, or sometimes I will change some of her recipes and offer alternatives so it's not a direct replicate. But I would see, she probably would have no problem with you referring back to her website, but I don't know her personally. But I think Sarah, we found out we both follow that Budget Bites blog, and she breaks it down as cost per serving. So it's really, really useful. So yeah, but we can't take credit for that. We can just take credit for finding it, I guess.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I do see a comment asking for ideas on extending life of bag salad mix. So I also face this, and I don't know what Sarah's comments on this are, but my trick is to always transfer it right away to a sealed container, and also wrap it in paper towels to prevent moisture buildup that can create wilting quicker. So if you wrap it in paper towels or paste paper towel on top and put it in a sealed container, that can help from my experience.
So are there any other questions? I mean, we're getting close past lunchtime. So yeah, we'll definitely next week, we'll keep working on the recipes. We need to be better about our YouTube tutorials. I think we're all sort of novices in the YouTube world. So we work on it. They're not always great. And yeah, anything, just send me an email and we incorporate it, because you'll be surprised. I bet someone else had the same question. And if there's anything you're getting in your counties, part of my role is to provide fact sheets and fast facts for some of these nutrition related topics. So just send an email.
And Sam's chicken avocado recipe that he shared the link to in his slides is actually tied back to our YouTube channel. So there's a demo on that. And then the Baked Omelet Bites also have a YouTube demo if you want some more visual aid with those.
But otherwise, I think we'll just wrap it up. thank you for your time and giving us 30, 40 minutes of your Friday. Have a nice weekend and take care. And thanks for the positive feedback. We actually really, it helps us so much. And we'll slow down our speaking. We promise next week. Okay, thank you.